Hey Sainers, welcome back to the Saints TV YouTube channel. Welcome back to another episode of Saints TV Weekly. Another week, another Saints TV Weekly. And it was a pretty easygoing week. You know, there was some good news stories to come from it. Some good highlights on the training track. So we'll talk about that in the episode. But before we get into that stuff, just a quick shout out. It's December 13, and that means 12 days until Christmas. But more importantly, Sainers, today is our captain, our saviour, our superstar midfielder. It's his birthday. It's Jack Steele's 26th birthday. So we wish Jack Steele a very happy birthday. Two-time All-Australian, two-time Trevor Barker medalist, all-round midfield gun. So we wish you a great day, Jack. And we hope you're ready for a massive year next year in 2022. But have a great day, mate. Probably the biggest news to come from the week was the release of the fixture. So if you haven't watched my other video, I go through it in full, reacting to it the first time I go through it. We'll kind of summarize it here, but this is from what the club have mentioned. So we've got the opening 9 games are basically locked in, times, venues, opposition, all sorted. The rest of it, TBC as we expected. The AFL is going to be doing that for a while, I think. For the next couple of years until they really are confident they can lock in a full year. But we opened the season obviously Friday night, March 18 against Collingwood, a massive game. And then followed after that, we've got a trio of Sunday afternoon matches against Fremantle away, Richmond at home, and Hawthorn away to accompany a Saturday afternoon match against the Gold Coast at home. We've got primetime matches against GWS on Friday the 22nd of April and Port Adelaide Saturday night for Anzac Day. And then we go to Cairns after that, as well as Manuka Oval in Canberra. I think we've got 12 Marvel Stadium games this year. We've got 5 of our first 9 to be broadcast live on Channel 7, which is great for people that don't have Fox Footy. And then I think on top of that, we've got the 6th or 7th hardest draw overall, which a lot of people have messaged me complaining about. But when you look at the draw, you still see finals, you know. And I know people are a bit annoyed. Well, we finished 10th. How the hell do we get the 6th hardest draw and Carlton get the easiest? I don't know. The AFL have their favourites. That's how it is. You're going to have to learn to deal with it. But when you look at our first 10 or so games, you got Collingwood, Fremantle, Richmond, Hawthorn, Gold Coast, GWS, Port will be tough, Melbourne will be tough, Geelong will be tough. But then you got Adelaide North before the bye. So in my preview, I talked about that, and I basically predicted I would expect us to be in the top 8 at the halfway mark of the year. If we're not more than 6 wins, I would be very disappointed. Obviously, circumstances can change, that injuries and everything, but if we've got our full team on the park for the first 11 weeks of the year, I'd be very surprised if we dropped, more than 4 or 5 games in that run. So that's a good run. Second half of the year gets a bit more difficult. Brisbane twice, Sydney twice. We've got the Bulldogs, West Coast away, Geelong away again in Geelong, which we can't seem to avoid. So there are some difficult fixtures in the second half, so that's why the first half is very critical, and we need to hit the ground running and get some good wins on the board. That's a fixture that if we don't make top 8, we would all be very surprised. Despite people saying it's difficult, I guarantee you those same people, if it comes to round 23 and we're not in the top 8, they would be staggered, because this is a good fixture. We should get players back from injury. Players should generally improve, and overall as a club, I think we will be better on field than the year just gone. Yeah, that's the fixture for 2022, so bring it on. So the other news to come from the week was primarily on the training track, which was nice to see. Pre-season's in full swing now. The first week's pretty much done. So it's good to see some pictures and video footage of the boys training and running and getting their fitness levels up. There was a 3K time trial that took place, and Mason Wood, he took the cake. He finished first ahead of Brad Hill, who was very good. Jack Sinclair, who's always good in the time trials. Ryan Burns, who again proves that he is going to be a very good runner for the club. Dan Butler finished 5th, which was a big surprise, and that's a big improvement on last year. Then Jack Steele, then Jack Paris. So great to see Paris in his first official preseason for the club, finishing 7th, followed by Jimmy Webster, Seb Ross, and then Zach Jones. So good mix of players there. Some improving times. Most of the players apparently clocked the 3Ks in under 9 minutes or under 10 minutes, I think, which is a really good time. And then you've got players like, Ben Long, Dean Kent, Tom Highmore, and Joyce who were the most improved performers compared to their times from the previous trial last January. So they didn't finish top 10, but they improved their times more than any other players on the list, which is great news. On top of that running again, I think it was on Wednesday or Thursday, club invited Olympian and St Kilda fan and elite runner Stuart McSwain down to the club to take hold of some running drills and some long distance running. And apparently Brad Hill stood up to him. Brad Hill, I think, beat him. I'm not entirely sure, but did a very good job to match him. The rest of the club, he's a world record holder. I think he's done the quickest mile this year. He broke that record in, I think he did 3 minutes 48 seconds compared to the original 3 minutes 54, which is insane. So he cut a fair chunk of time off that original world record. But I love this approach, to training. We haven't really seen this from the club. And I think it's a testament to Nick Walsh and his kind of open-minded approach to get someone like that down to the club. He's doing things a bit differently and he's thinking outside the box, and that's exciting. And I think that approach not only will excite the players, but get the best out of them. And I think Nick Walsh also took the boys down to the Brighton Baths, I think it was yesterday, and they did some different sort of drills in the water. It was to expand their lungs, to get more breaths in and to be stronger and run harder. So I love that this whole week has been very much about running and very much about running hard and for longer. And that was one thing all year that we talked about that we weren't good at. And this is, the number one priority for him straight off the bat when he's come in for pre-season is running and improving lung capacity. So that's exciting. That's the big area that we need to improve in. So good work, Nick Walsh. Very happy with that. And then the other big news for the week was, I think it was a tweet from Mitch Cleary who kind of announced that Jack Billings is very likely to play pretty much forward this year, and he's not going to be a winger anymore. He's going to go half forward pocket, and I'm all for it. I'm looking at Jack Billings' stats from 2017, and that's when he played predominantly half forward flank. He only kicked 23 goals from his 22 games, but he also kicked 36 behinds, 23-36 for the year. That's 59 shots on goal, plus some out on the fulls. He had over 70 shots that year on goal. He could have kicked 40 to 50 goals in his third or fourth year at AFL level. That's how good he was as a small. And I've said that from the start, that we need to pick a position for him. I've always thought he's more dangerous as a forward. There's a few games, even in the last couple of years, where he's played wing, he was quiet, we put him forward, and he bobs up and he kicks a goal when we need him to, or he sets another goal up for another player. So I think that's a great call and one that I'm really looking forward to. I think with him, Gresham, Butler, Higgins rotating around half forward pocket, that's going to be very exciting and very hard for the opposition to control because they've all got different strengths. I think Jack Billings is more important as a forward than as a winger for the club. So if you disagree, comment, let me know. But I genuinely think that he will win us more games as a small forward than off the wing any day of the week. All right, and lastly, the best part of the show, answering your questions. This one is from Victoria. Do you think there will be a noticeable change in the boys next season? I feel like I've already seen a positive change, so fingers crossed. Yep, I agree. I think there will be a noticeable change in the boys next season. I mean, it's obviously pretty hard to tell a week into preseason, 2 weeks into preseason, but there is a vibe. There's a vibe. They look like they're switched on, but I mean, every club in preseason looks like they're switched on. They have to be. It's preseason. You need to be switched on. But having said that, we do have a year where we need to take it by the scruff of the neck and really go for it. And if we don't, we would all be very disappointed. And Brett Ratton would be a very, very stressed out individual. But yeah, I've got a good feeling about it. I don't know why. I think it's, the changing of the coaches, the players we got in, general improvement, getting players back from injury. And I think for some reason, I don't know why, but I feel like the players know where they sit in the competition and know what they're capable of, and that the year that we just had was not acceptable, and they don't want to do that again. So I've got a weird feeling that they've set higher standards for themselves, and we've always said as a club that we don't do that enough, but I think this group of players in this preseason is going to set a higher standard for themselves as well as the club overall, and that should hopefully return some pretty good results on the footy field next year. So good question, Victoria. I agree with you. I've got some good vibes as well. Let's hope that they carry it through next year. Thomas has asked, fourth hardest fixture apparently. What do you think of that, Jakey? Mate, don't even care. If you want to be a good team, you've got to beat good teams. And I think we've got a fixture that gives us a good balance of beating teams we should beat and beating teams or challenging teams that are higher up on the ladder than us in the last couple of years. So I'm perfectly fine with that. I don't care that it's the fourth hardest. I think that's, on paper, it looks bad, but I think if anything, that's a sign that we should be, not worried about this fixture. We should be in a position, if we hadn't had the down year we did, we should be pretty confident with whatever fixture we get. But because we had a down year, we're a bit like, we want an easy fixture. But if you have an easy fixture and you make finals, does it really feel that good? You want to win against the good teams. You want to beat Geelong. You want to beat Sydney. You want to beat Brisbane, beat Melbourne, beat Port. I want to play all the good teams. That's how you grow. That's how you become a premiership threat. You don't become a premiership threat by beating Gold Coast. No disrespect, but beating Gold Coast twice a year and North Melbourne twice a year and Collingwood twice a year. You become a threat when you beat the top teams and you earn the respect of the competition doing that way. And right now, we haven't done that. We've got the opportunity next year to do it. Ken's asking, who will be the big improver next season? Good question. Big improver. I mean, I could just say Max King because he's improving all the time, and I can't see any other talls in the competition improving as quickly and as rapidly as he will, and he has already in his career. So yeah, I'll go the easy option and I'll say Max King for me. Buster's asking, what have been your thoughts on the training approach so far? Looks very much aimed at building fitness. Love it, mate. Buster, it's a great question. And yeah, I really am enjoying the training structure at the moment. I think building fitness first is important, then skills. Whereas generally we've just gone straight for skills, trying to hone in on the game plan. And then when it comes to round one, when you're trying to execute it for 120 minutes, our fitness is shit and we shit the bed at half time and get done by 10 goals, So I think that's what we saw this year, where we probably had a game plan that worked, but we just didn't have the fitness to execute it. Whereas, Nick Walsh is coming in, identifying we need fitness. We need to be able to run all day. Then foot skills, game plan, that will take care of itself. So I like that. He's using the first couple of weeks as fitness and getting that up, because preseason, that's what it's for, building fitness. Then, December, January, February, you go into the ball skills, you go into game plans, different structures, different players in positions, trialing them in back line, forward line, mixing that up. And then when it comes to March, you've got some preseason games and then round one. So I think it's a good schedule, and that's something that we talked about last year. We didn't have structure. We didn't have a game plan. So, for off season, but now we do. So full credit to Nick Walsh and the fitness staff. I think they've hit the nail on the head on that one. All right, guys, I'll leave it there. I think this is a bit of a longer one than usual, but hopefully enjoy it. I think Marshy and I are going to try and get down to training sometime this week and maybe do an episode for the podcast, which will be exciting. So keep an eye out for that. But also, if you're watching this and you haven't subscribed to the Saints TV YouTube channel, please hit the subscribe button. We're trying to get 4,000 subs by round one next year. We're nearly on 2,700. Please subscribe. Help us get to 2,800, 900, 3,000. It'd be amazing. And you get notified on all the future videos. But until then, guys, enjoy the rest of your week. And I'll see you next week on another Saints TV Weekly. Take care, guys, and go you mighty Saints.